Okay, we're going to talk about compression threshold. When we set our threshold, what we're essentially doing is telling the compressor how far down we want to crush things. Another way of looking at that is we're drawing a line across here. And as you can see, this is a drum loop. Let's listen to that real quick. Okay, and we want to compress it. So let's imagine we've drawn a line right across here. Let's say this is -4 decibels. Remember that digital always goes backwards, so the loudest signal you can get in digital is 0. Okay, so, and down here is -180 decibels. That seems a little bit screwy in terms of how I imagine it, but whatever, we'll work with them. Now, so the way this thing is scaled, if we, let's zoom in a little bit, there we go. Let's draw a little line here across this. Anytime a waveform is loud enough to cross that line, we say, "Hey boy, what are you doing? Get out of here." And that's when we compress it. Now, anything under that line, we don't care. And so let's go ahead and start out. We'll keep the compression really subtle. All right, now, and this is the only knob we care about right now, is this threshold guy. Okay, so we're going to preview this. And also pay attention to our gain reduction meter. This shows us how much we're knocking off of those peaks. Okay, so that's what I'm eyeballing now, and I'm waiting to see it light up, but I'm going to be very subtle. My goal here is to set the threshold so subtle that we only catch this really loud guy right here. Or maybe we leave these other guys alone. That's going to be pretty tricky because of the way this is scaled, but we'll try. Okay, we're getting a little bit of lighting just on the meter there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what it looks like. All right, pay attention to this right here. There we go. And I got it. All right, God, I'm good at this. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z that. Okay, it's back. Now, if we continue with this threshold business, let's yank it down quite a bit more. Preview it and look at the gain reduction meter. Okay, it's pretty much hitting all of these peaks, so I expect the whole thing to be reduced. This is the whole thing about compression. It's not volume reduction in the normal sense, because this little bitty stuff, this quieter stuff, the sustain, could be hi-hats, but most likely a combination of everything. But these little guys here should stay put. So let's pay attention to the peaks, but also let's pay attention to this one little guy right here and see what happens. Okay, ready, and no! And exactly as I predicted. I've done this before. Okay, the little sustainies and hi-hat cymbals, junk, ambience, rooms, whatever, all that stuff stayed the same, and our peaks were all reduced. And I'm getting ready to undo it, so watch it expand once again. This guy will stay the same, and these peaks will increase. Bam. Okay, and so threshold, again, just imagine we have an imaginary line that's going to crush this, anything that goes past it. Now, if we want to get really crazy, let's start pulling this thing way down. And of course, it'll sound all trashy. You probably can't hear that very well. Let me crank it up. Makeup gain, which is really another topic. It's not really much of a topic. It's just because we've reduced the overall volume of this thing by knocking all the peaks off that go above this threshold line, we now need to give it more gain to make up for that. And that's a very common thing with compression. We use it all the time. Okay, so I'm adding 7 decibels there as compared to that's what we originally had. So let's show you here. We're going to nuke this thing, and as you can tell, it definitely sounds like junk. Actually, I'm not going to use any makeup gain to help with the visual, because that'll make the whole thing expand. That is a volume knob. Anyway, so we're processing this. Watch what's going to happen. We're at -36 now, which that's pretty aggressive, and you can obviously hear it's pretty damn distorted. So we're going to start yanking this down. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these little guys start getting nuked. It's hard to tell with, we don't really use our eyes this much when we're doing actual mixing, but I'm trying to give you both a visual and the oral experience. All right, so let's see what happens here. Processing, and again, watch this little guy and see what he does. We know the peaks are going to get crushed. Oh, well, hell, we nuked the whole damn thing. There's a reason it was so distorted. And that's the interesting thing about compression, is we can completely annihilate things pretty easily. We have, let's see, going back, we were at -36. We can go to -60. Let's see what that looks like. I can even see it. You can barely hear it. So we have the ability to really smash stuff hardcore. So that concludes Threshold.